Well, we come back from our little anniversary getaway right as this blizzard. I think they just issue warnings now. It is rough. The interstate was closed down because of accidents, and there's snowy, icy roads, and maybe there's more snow to come, but certainly we've seen worse. But they had a blizzard warning for a lot of areas. I don't know if we were under a blizzard warning per se, but anyway, we leave Ohio. It was cold and windy there when we left. We got home, it was warmer here than it was there, and then overnight the bottom fell out, and it's cold and icy and snowy and just generally, depending on what you think, unpleasant. The duckies been hanging on in their little pen. They got some feed, they need some water. I had them a little doghouse in there, but they didn't go in it, so I kind of made it for a wind shelter, extra wind shelter. So they've got, you can see that there's no snow up in that area there. So, and she doesn't seem to be minding it anyway. My birdies, Madison took my bird feeders down because of the wind. You can see you can hear the woodpeckers there behind me, flickers, and you can see that the birdies have been digging in the snow trying to find their goodies. Now with my mic today, because of the wind, you won't be able to appreciate how windy it is, but it's blowing crazy out there. You can hear it howling. We call that the Mountaindale wind, the winter wind kicking up over. You can see it blowing through here, but it's windy. It's blowing. I need a face mask. That's a big wind chill. A little bit higher. It's windy. Taking a little shelter behind the trees before I step out into. Before I step out into that, that's a hot mess. You can see the snow drifts were gone, and now they're all back again. So you can't get your truck out through that. You can go above it, but even the tractor, I've had tractors stuck in that. It's just like a vice. It just grips you and won't let you go. But today will be 63 days here in just a few hours. It'll be 63 days since this Bell's palsy started. And little tingly sensations now and then. And sometimes if I massage my face, the nerve will draw down a little bit. So I guess I need to get back to the doctor and determine, well, there's not really anything they can do. There's maybe some therapies, but it's just kind of a wait and see kind of deal. So hopefully that nerve regrows. Somebody call me. Hopefully that nerve regrows and restores the function of my face. I've lost a good bit of weight because I can't eat as much. It's just exhausting to eat, and I can't breathe very well out of the side of my nose. It's always a wonder when we come out of those trees right there, when you turn that corner across that field and that wind is just destroying you all the way out till you get to this tree line. And then it's just like 10 or 15 degrees warmer. Feels that way anyway, with that wind not hitting you quite as hard. My fancy little gimbal that Missy got me to record my videos on, it doesn't like these really cold temperatures. It doesn't function quite so good. Its motors are a little sluggish, so I went old school today with the old selfie stick kind of deal thing. But that works out fine. I just gotta reach up and hit the button. It's not right there at my thumb. First world problems. In some winters, we all know that this cold just sets in and it just doesn't go away. I don't know if that's going to be one of these years. I mean, it's supposed to warm up first of the week, and then we'll just have a muddy mess. So you sacrifice one for the other this time of year after the ground froze, and if it thaws out, it'll be a muddy mess. That's whatever, we'll just deal with what we got. But some years this cold sets in and just doesn't go away, and we're only here in December, so we've got 3 to 4 months of really hard weather, probably the potential for hard weather. The last few years we haven't had so much of that. I feel like if we think about, considering that we're here at this Christmas season, Advent started this past Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent. And the Advent, it was the anticipation of the Messiah, the first birth of the Messiah. So they spent, this period of time, there was 400 years of silence. Just so happens our church is studying through that period in Sunday school, but they had this 400-year period of silence. And then they're in this Advent, this anticipation of the coming of the Messiah. And we are in that second Advent. We are waiting his second coming. Now, we say we get discouraged at Christmas time. Many of us want to say that Jesus is the reason, and that we've forgotten the reason for the season. Jesus is the reason for the season. And he is rightfully the reason for the season. But how many of us are actually pursuing the reason for the season? How many of us are actually seeking Christ during this season? Are we stressed and grumbling during this time of year? Are we depressed? We have all these activities and all these things that draw our attention and take up our time. Does that cause a poor mood in us? Are we stressed? Are we grumbling? Too much Christmas music. People got their decorations up too soon. Oh, I got to go here and I got to go there. Oh, I hate this time of year. People are depressed because they don't have anybody to be around, or they've got to buy these gifts and they're financially stressed. So many different things to stress us out, to cause us to be not in a great mood during Christmas time. Now see, I took my mic off and left my little stick back at the house, but I had to trudge out here and check my piggies. Now these pigs should have already been gone, and I should have known the butchers would be 4 months, 3 months out, 4 months out. But I didn't plan accordingly. I didn't do well. So we had to keep little piggies into the winter a little stretch. And they said, we don't care what you got, bud. We ain't coming out of there. I'm not freaking. It's down there. Come on, piggies. Food down here. Pigs are just a touch terrifying. I don't know where my swiper went. But if I stayed still too long, they'd eat me too. Where are we at? I don't know why it wouldn't let me swipe. They're so close I can't even get them in the camera. Anyway, Joel Salatin says, you know, you can lay down in a field of cows and notice it's sniff you, you know, snuzzle you and stuff like that. You lay down in the field with pigs, and you about to be dinner. Now, they're not so aggressive as they're trying to bite me, but I'm not sitting still for them to give them the opportunity. But it's a long ways for them to walk in this cold to get their food. But they'll do it for a little bit. They'll have a good time, and then they'll go back in and snuggle up. 26 and her calves, they buy some eating, and they don't get the grain bucket that often, but she sure knows what it is. And that's her calf right there. She throws some good calves. Grass. We got to get that genetic going. But her daughter Bia, that little calf there, some good grass calves. There's Summer. She's old school. She's a little tall and lanky, but she's the boss cow. Little CG. Old Helen right there. She's hanging in there, but she's got that small frame. She just doesn't perform like 26 does. Who we got there? Number 9. Can't see your tag. Number 6. And then Maybelline and number 7. And there's Helen's calf. There's Bia trudging through right there. And there's old Skunk Head. 3 calves. We got one more calf somewhere. Summer's calf. We need to go see about him. Her somewhere. There she is. There she is. Everybody's a little bit hunkered down. It's like clowns in a phone booth in that building up there. I need to open the access a little better, but I didn't really intend for them to have access. They decided they was going in there. What's up, Bia? You don't like that cold wind blowing on you, girl? You best get back to your building. Now we working on bale grazing and getting our extended stockpile going, and these girls got hay up there under the snow, but they so spoiled they ain't trying to get it. They out here looking for twigs. So hopefully either the wind shows them where the hay is. They know where the hay is. They're just spoiled. Bunch of spoiled, rotten kids. You know where the hay is, 26. You just want a grain bucket. You haven't had a grain bucket in years, not on a regular basis. But boy, you shake a feed sack or take a bucket through a field and these girls will get you. They say, I know what you got, some candy in that bucket. They scratching around every piece of grass trying to find something green. You look good though, most of you. Helen, you look good for what you are, but I'd like to see you a little better. But them calves could do a little better. I weaned them a little bit too early. And unless you're going to provide nutrition for them, you shouldn't wean them that early. And what I mean by that is, if you're not going to grain them or you're not going to give them if they're taking them off the milk, what you doing, girl? If you're taking them off the milk, you got to make sure they got some good grass. And we had this drought year, and I thought the mamas was suffering, so I took them off, and they weren't ready, and they're not performing the way I would like them to. So we got some genetic issues, we got some human mistake issues, but it's coming. We'll see how she does. Statistics show that 38% of people experienced heightened stress during the holiday season, during the Christmas season. In the season of joy to the world. In that season, 38% of the people, more than 1/3 of the people, experience a heightened level of stress. The world's done this. The world that the devil has been loosed on has done this, has stolen away this opportunity to celebrate Christ and caused us to be sad, caused us to be depressed, caused us to be anxious and stressed out. And it just steals away from the opportunity. And hopefully over the next few days, We can talk about Christmas and what the celebration of Christmas should be. I mean, it's a 12-day holiday. That's the tradition of Christmas. There are 12 days of Christmas. It actually starts December 25th and ends January 5th or 6th, however you choose to view it. Old Christmas is January 6th. And there is some, calendar things that go along with that, calendar changes and observing different calendars. But there are 12 days of Christmas. That was a tradition, a gigantic feast, a big feast. Every day was met with celebration. And why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we celebrate the coming of the Messiah and our anticipation of his return? Why shouldn't we celebrate that with a grand feast over multiple days? Not just this thing where we are anxious and stressed about buying gifts, and this isn't I'm not against buying gifts, but it does cause a lot of stress. It causes financial stress. It causes stress about whether or not we satisfy the person, and there's a lot that goes into that. So instead of Advent being a time of anticipation, the anxiousness of awaiting the King, it is an anxiousness of worry, a depression, a sadness that creeps over so many people. This is the season of joy. Joy to the world. The Lord has come. And we anticipate his second coming. We await his second coming. And we have to study that out over these next few days. Let's consider that. Let's consider if we are pursuing the reason for the season over these next few days. Hey, it's cold. I still got work to do. Love y'all.